Crusader Kings 3 released in 2020 for PC and came to console in 2022. Since its release, it's had a ton of updates and DLC added, and it's currently available on PC through Steam and Xbox Game Pass Ultimate, as well as the Xbox console through Game Pass and the PlayStation 5 through PlayStation Plus Extra. I've put hundreds of hours into Crusader Kings 3 over the years, and my most recent playthrough, and the basis for this review, had me leading my dynasty from 867 to 1453. So, is Crusader Kings 3 worth checking out on console or PC? This review will answer that question.
We have waited years for our chance to rule these lands. We will wait no more. Our true legacy shall be built with weddings, not warriors. Daggers, not swords. But if war comes knocking, rest assured, we will answer. Never forget, real strategy requires cunning.
First, let's start the review by talking about what kind of game Crusader Kings 3 is. It's described as a grand strategy game, but in my opinion, CK3 is a sandbox. It gives you a world, a character, and all the tools to interact with it, and then sets you loose to do whatever you want. CK3 doesn't really have a story, it's up to you to make one yourself. The game is at its best when you pick an objective and work towards it, role-playing as a character to achieve your goals. Maybe you want to play as an evil count that extorts his subjects and tortures his enemies? You can do that. Or maybe you want to expand the borders of your empire, so you pick the French monarchy of 1066 and push the boundaries, making enemies and waging crusades against other religions. Or maybe you want to protect Jerusalem from Christian crusaders that are coming to invade it. Every kind of story is available to you. You just need to use your imagination or pick an objective and go. You can be as evil or perverse as you want to be, forcing your subjects to discard their clothes and marry their siblings. You can found a religion with whatever tenets you want, including eating each other, foregoing wealth, or paying you for indulgences. CK3 does have some limitations, but you'll find that with enough time or skill, you can remove those limits in some way or another. But there is the issue of not having a set storyline. If you are the type of person that wants to understand your characters, have a narrative with a clear beginning, middle, and end, CK3 doesn't have that. It's a game about creating a dynasty, bringing your chosen bloodline through the years, and looking at how far you came or how much you lost. There's a lot of fun in starting as a lowly count, growing your fiefdom until it's a mightiest empire, and then letting your descendants absolutely ruin it. The game may seem daunting with its UI and all the different possibilities, but CK3 is the most accessible of Paradox's strategy games. There's a good tutorial, and you will likely spend your first playthrough figuring out the mechanics and the world. CK3 is a type of game that's easy to get into, but still hard enough that even hundreds of hours later, you're still figuring out strategies. Let's talk about how your first game of CK3 is going to go. You're given the option of a start date and a ruler. The two main eras are 867 and 1066. Or Vikings and the Crusades. 867 takes place in a time where the Vikings are raiding England, Europe is divided, and things in the Middle East are fractured into a ton of different factions. Starting in 867 means that unless you play as a Viking, things are going to be pretty slow at first. You don't have a lot of development options that you need for a European feudal game, and you will likely spend the first 100 years just straightening out your finances. But as a Viking, you can conquer the world pretty easily. 867 is the most gamer version of CK3, where things go off the rails and you can do pretty much anything you want. Without trying that hard, you can pick a Viking and have most of Europe and Russia under your control within 2 lifetimes, only to lose it all when you die and the succession fractures it apart. I would not suggest starting at 867 at first. The game is too long, too crazy, and starts way too slow. Instead, start at 1066, where you have a moderate amount of innovations, giving you a good start on your economy. Aside from the 2 dates, CK3 gives you a bunch of suggested people to play as. There are brief descriptions of who they are and the possible goals they may have, and the playstyles you should look for. I would recommend you stick with one of the easy people on your early playthroughs. There is also the possibility of choosing any ruler or person in the world or making your own. This is a much more advanced playthrough and can be a lot harder, but it gives you more control on how to achieve your goals and tailor your person to your playstyle. For the first game, you should play the game's tutorial, where you're going to control a petty king in Ireland, where you have the biggest army there, a lot of allies, and you can focus on learning the game's mechanics without a lot of worries. Eventually, you'll form a united Ireland, and then you can go about expanding your empire or whatever you want to do. CK3 isn't that hard, with the beginning of the game being the most difficult if you don't pick a good ruler. Almost inevitably, if you play halfway decently, you're going to be the biggest fish in the pond and no one's going to mess with you. That is until your character dies, and then your heirs mess things up, and everyone hates them, and then everyone rebels against them. But that can be fun too. I want to talk about the graphics and technicals of CK3. It looks pretty good, runs really well on both PC and console. The character models are detailed, and you can make a handsome or truly monstrous person, whatever you want. Plus, your kids are going to inherit your features, so play around with that. Just be aware there is nudity in this game, but you can disable it from the options. Nudity happens when you seduce someone or if certain prompts come up. CK3 has story prompts that happen occasionally, usually leaving you with a decision to make. Your character is an independent person and will want to act in a certain way, but if you go against that, there's a penalty. For example, if your character is just, and then you want to go around imprisoning and killing everyone, that's going to cause your character stress since they're acting against their nature. The more stress you have, the worse their character's health gets, and there could be major negative consequences. Going back to nudity, one of my characters, a duchess, was a lunatic and would talk to ghosts and do crazy things. One of the prompts was that she declared clothing against God, so everyone in the court had to be naked. It was fun times. A run from 867 to 1453 can take a long time, up to 50 hours depending on how much you pause or let the game run on its own. And the payoff at the end is very underwhelming, with just a screen saying that the age came to an end, and then you can look back on all your previous characters. But don't let that get you down or prevent you from checking out CK3. Like I said before, it's your story. Maybe you restored the Pope to Rome or took it away from him. Maybe you conquered Europe, marrying your cousins and relatives along the way. CK3 is your story. So, is CK3 worth checking out on console and PC? Absolutely it is. The console version is really good, although it will take a little getting used to with the controls, and it's clear that this was a PC game first. But it's free on Game Pass and PlayStation Plus Extra, making it perfect to download and play to see if you like it. I'm the Casual Console Gamer, and I'll see you all in the next review.